The ideas that underlie the way in which managers behave form the basis for this chapter, which examines the traditional views regarding the functions of managers, along with important new approaches to organization, development, and management. Discussions range from early writers in the field who focused on the importance of organizational structure to more contemporary theories that balance structure with human behavior and organizational culture and values. The authors argue that an understanding of how organizations are structured and how they influence behavior is crucial to success in public administration, as administrators are challenged to find a form of management that is compatible with the requirements of a democratic society. The chapter opens with a discussion about how and why human beings create organizations, noting both the advantages and drawbacks to form organizations. The discussion then will turn to the images that managers carry in their heads about how public organizations should operate and how individual managers should act, images that direct people's actions and shape their work in specific ways. In order for managers to sharpen those images, it's helpful to learn what scholars and practitioners in the field have said about public management. The balance of the chapter reviews some of the most influential theories and approaches to designing and managing public organizations. This review begins with an overview of structural approaches, including the POSDCORB acronym formulation of the functions of management, Weber's characterization of bureaucracy, the scientific management approach, and the importance of the division of labor. Early writers on public administration strove to apply, quote, correct principles of administration based on the assumption that government organizations were essentially the same as those in the business world. However, we'll see that these approaches considered only the need for efficiency and didn't take into account other values inherent in the democratic form of government. In addition, these approaches did not consider how individual behavior might affect the rigid structures that they described. The chapter will then turn to approaches to management based on human behavior, noting that consideration about how the behavior of humans affected organizational life, which was spurred in the mid-20s by unexpected findings from the Hawthorne studies. These results pointed to the importance of paying attention to both the formal structure of work processes and the patterns of informal relationships among those involved in the structure, resulting in a number of studies being undertaken that dealt with the relationship between workers and managers. Some observers suggested that when managers treated workers differently, it could affect the work they did. Others addressed the issue of rationality in human behavior, and still others explored the interaction between individuals in the organization. This shift from a focus on structure to a consideration of human behavior suggested that the job of a manager is to direct behavior of individuals toward the purpose of the organization. The authors point out that while the emphasis first on structure and then on human behavior was important in focusing attention on critical aspects of organizational life, neither point of view took into consideration the relationship between the organization and its environment. Thus, the chapter turns next to a discussion on the systems approach, the political economy approach, and other more complex approaches to the design and management of organizations, including public choice, new public administration, and organizational development. This section will examine the importance of decision-making in organizations. Issues of organizational culture, organizational learning, and strategic management are then examined. The authors note the importance of organizational culture, or the deeper, unacknowledged system of values and beliefs that define the organization as a whole and influence the way in which the organization communicates, its system of reward, and the way in which members see themselves and the outside world. Organizational culture also is a critical factor in organizational change, organizational learning, and in strategic management approaches. From this discussion, the author will suggest guidelines for the practice of public management. The chapter closes with a discussion on postmodern critiques of organization and management theory. Particularly for those who will one day strive to be managers, this will be a very important chapter, as well as those who will soon enter the workplace, and you might better understand how you're being managed.